What's up, y'all? We're here once again. As you can see by the title, you got Kenya's protest and Williams Ruto's response, the president response. Now, I'm gonna give my take on this and what's on all the stuff that's going on, right? But before I do, let's show, well, if you're here and you haven't been, well abreast of what's going on in Kenya, there's a protest going on, right? The people are protesting the taxes that was imposed on them by their president. The president, the people let the president know, William Ruto, that they were not in favor of taxing essential goods, right? You're taxing essential goods, goods that are essential to the people for them to survive, right? Increasing the taxes on them, I should say. And so the people let it be known that they were not happy with it, and they took to the streets. And even though the president did not sign the bill to pass the law uh, on the increase of the taxes of the essential goods, right, like bread and feminine products and stuff like that, the people are still taking to the streets, right? They're still storming the capitals and stuff like that, right? Now, because they don't trust, in their estimation, they're saying that they don't trust him. They're saying that he is money hungry leader. Um, he's not for the people. He's for himself. He's putting the country more and more into debt. He's, taking and probably taking some of that money and pocketed some, pocketing some of it for himself. Um, Also, you know, and we can get into the net worth of the president and stuff like that. So they're saying that he is not doing what he promised the people that he was going to do, right? Um, Especially when you see a lot of other uprisings, and revolutions going on or coups going on, and all throughout Africa, especially with Ibrahim Toure from Burkina Faso and you know, other countries who are sick and tired of leadership, that is taking advantage of the people and basically helping themselves. So other African countries and other citizens of other African countries, they're seeing this and they're saying like, why can our leader be like, Ibrahim Torre or someone else, who's out there and who's fighting against, corruption, and fighting against um, the ownership or the you could say European rule through or the Europeans, you know, their president being in bed with the Europeans, right, to enrich themselves and to keep the population poor, right? Because you have Ibrahim Toure of Burkina Faso who took, a cut in his pay, right, and give it, and I heard that William Ruto of Kenya, you know, got rid of uh, cut certain expenditures of the government, so we I did hear a report about that, but you know, the people are still taking to the streets. They're still taking to the streets, and until he is out of office, they don't trust him anymore, right? They don't trust that, and I don't blame them. I'll show you William Ruto's response in an interview, and it seemed very callous and uncaring, like no sympathy for the people, and and the lives that were lost, and it's more like like he doesn't care. So maybe the people are right to feel that to feel the way they do, you know, and and we can get into some of the videos or yeah, let's get into some of the videos and talk a little bit more. I have some points here to hit upon, some facts that I dug up, about William Ruto and, some of the stuff that's going on. But you even had people like Barack Obama's sister, who is speaking out, who's an activist and speaking out, during this whole protest, right? So we can even, watch that. I'm pretty sure a lot of people saw this already. But if you didn't, here's a little clip. Just a little clip. Just give me a moment. All right. Let me get the
tear gas during former President Obama's half-sister was among protesters tear gas during massive demonstrations in Kenya. Activist Alma Obama and thousands of others were protesting higher taxes outside of the country's parliament today. At least 5 protesters were killed, dozens were wounded, and sections of parliament set on fire.
Right. So we see here, you have people like Obama's sister, who's out there with the people, and who also shows a disagreement with what's going on, within, her country, and how the leadership is not a leader for the people. But here's another video. We have another video of also, there's been talks of kidnappings, right? And this is a part of what I'm going to touch upon with William Ruto, the president. He said that he were not going to, extradite or use his power in a way that would be considered abuse of power, like kidnapping citizens or killing them and in private, and if they spoke up or against his leadership and stuff like that, right? So here's another video of some police or government officials kidnapping some of its citizens. All right.
At the request of State House, my name is Joe Ageyo, and in this interview, I will be joined by my colleague.
Wrong video. We'll get to that one later on. That's the interview. Let's get the other one.
Afternoon to you. We begin. Former legislator has been a strong critic of.
As you can see, you got a man being snatched out his car. Says that he was traveling with his family. No, this is not actions that the government is taking against the citizens, right?
God damn.
That just looks like that looks like a kidnapping, man. That doesn't look like, who knows what happened to that person. We can let's
Well, those are the pictures of former Nandi Hills Member of Parliament Alfred Keter, who was allegedly abducted today in the morning in Lavington in Nairobi. we are following up on that story to get more information. Of course, that is former Nandi member of parliament who was allegedly abducted in the moment.
So anyway, we can get on to some other stuff. There's some points that I want to hit upon. So they're saying that the people salaries has been taxed. The taxes have been taxed up to 45%. So the taxes of goods and are being essential goods are being increased, but also the taxes of people are paying up to 45% in taxes, from their salaries. So the Kenyans are feeling a hit, from this oppressive president, and they're not happy. So this is why they want him out of office. He may have, not signed a bill that was going to increase the taxes of essential goods, but taxes are still high or still being applied in certain other areas. Also, let me see. Yeah, let's see. So also there have been reports that there are snipers. The president is using snipers, and they're using live ammunition, on the people. Um, this is not how I see that this president is not the most diplomatic president, or is he smart with his emotions or words? Not he's definitely not like the president, of the presidents of the United States who will come out and say, I'm sorry for the deaths of the people. I'm sorry, for those who have been caught in the crossfires or who are, who have been killed and stuff like that. But we can't have order, and I mean we can't have, uh, violence and violence. At least come out and sound diplomatic, sound like you care. All right, this guy is just is. I'm gonna show the video, and he's definitely doesn't. The person who was interviewing him or had to show him to have some. Was telling him that, or I should say, was giving him advice on on how to be compassionate for little children that were being killed. So we're going to get to it in a second. So also they said that William Ruto net worth is about 400 million KSH. So that's Kenyan shillings, right? That's equivalent to about 3 to 4 million US dollars. So this guy is definitely a wealthy guy. And maybe he was, uh, taking out more debt, to, and who knows how that money was going to trickle down, right? Maybe some of that was going to go into his own pockets. And well, I'll read, matter of fact, let's read some stuff upon the debt of Kenya, right? So it says here that the World Bank is Kenya's largest creditor. At the end of 2022, Kenya owed at least 6.7 billion to China. So, according to the IMF, it owed another 7.1 billion to bondholders, 3.8 billion to industrialized countries, 3.5 billion to African Development Bank, and 1.9 billion to international commercial banks. So altogether, this looks like about 13, 14, maybe 17, or 20, 21, about 22, 23 billion dollars in debt, right? So now definitely, um, I think that the people of, I think this is stupid to, I think it's not smart for a country to borrow money, from other countries and from the World Bank, right? I believe that leaders need to be, you know, smarter businessmen, because the country is a corporation, and so when you're running a business or a corporation, you try to keep debt down, or expenses. You try to keep expenses down as much as possible, and you should try not to use leverage, right, or debt, to grow. Um, you should not use debt or leverage wildly to grow, right? I believe it has some use case, but it should be kept at a minimal, you know, um, if not used at all. But we know a lot of businesses use leverage or debt, to basically grow their net worth and revenues and stuff like that. It's quicker, but is it the smartest way, of growing revenue? Is quicker, but it's the smartest way. Kenya, there's a couple of things that they could do, as a country to increase, their revenue, and also to and also to to pay down their debt without putting that burden on the people's salaries, without putting that burden on the essential goods that the people need. Kenya is not a wealthy country. The people are not wealthy. They're very poor. It's not even the wealthiest, country in Africa. So for you to put that heavy burden on the people while you're probably taking some of the money from, while you're probably taking some of the money, for yourself, you know, if allegedly, right, that's not right. So, um, what are some ways that Kenya can probably bring down, to pay down his debt, right? So here's a couple of ways. You have cutting expenses. The government can cut spending while still providing for its citizens, right? Increasing capital inflows. The country can try to increase capital inflows, raising taxes, which that's not in this case. I wouldn't suggest that, because we see what's happening, right? Especially when the people are not wealthy. Restructuring. The government can negotiate debt terms with creditors, call in the International Monetary Fund, which they already have, but I'm not sure if they are working on restructuring their debt and negotiating the terms of the debt, and get creditors to agree to a plan. This could include creditors agreeing to receive their money back over a longer period of time, or writing off some of their loans. Other strategies are um, issuing debt in the form of bonds, right? Which they already did that, I believe. Lowering interest rates, implementing a national sales tax. I don't think that would be. That's not popular. Rising the retirement age for, no, that's not popular either. Social Security. All right, opening its borders. I don't even think they have Social Security. opening its borders to encourage consumption and entrepreneurship. Now, that's one way, right? They can open up their borders to encourage entrepreneurship. Um, and kind of like what Ghana did with the year of return and stuff like that. Um, and closing tax loopholes, right? That would be a good one. But anyway, let's look at this video and let's hear the response of William Ruto to the protests and the deaths of his citizens. Let's get that video.
Linus Kaikai from Royal Media Services and Eric Latif from the Standard Media Group. And it's my colleague Linus Kaikai who's going to go with the first question of this interview.
We're not going to watch this whole interview. It's about an hour and 53 minutes. You can look at the whole thing yourself on your own time. We're just going to go through the first several minutes of the video and hear his response to the interviewer's questions.
Thank you, Your Excellency. The hashtag out there is Ruto must go. Doesn't need much interpretation, does it? Protesters want you out of office. How do you respond to that?
Everybody is entitled to their opinion. I have a job to do. We are a country of rules. We are a constitutional democracy and citizens, because we all enjoy the freedom of speech, freedom of thought. Citizens are free to engage in discourse that they want to, but that is what it is. Those are the fruits and signs of a democracy.
But this is no ordinary discourse, Mr. President. Over 20 people are dead.
Now, I like that point right there. This is not ordinary discourse. No, it's not. This was a protest, and there are people who have lost their lives. This should not be a part of any democracy. But let's go on.
39 are missing through state-driven abductions. And first, they're asking a very simple question. 24 people dead. Your Excellency, do you have blood on your hands?
Now, 24 people are dead and 39 abductions. This is all being done by the government. So it seems like more of the violence and more of the violence is being done by the government than the people. Yeah, the people stormed the Capitol, broke into this and stuff like that. But we had that over here in the United States, and you don't hear stories of, mega people being killed, right? And like large, I believe it probably was one. No, was it one person? No, I don't think any mega people were killed. But anyway.
I have no blood on my hands. 19 people, to the record that I have from the security agencies, are dead. Very unfortunate. As a democracy, that should not be part of our conversation. 2.4 billion of property has been destroyed. The Office of the Chief Justice has been burnt. City Hall has been burnt. Parliament has been burnt. That is the situation.
Let's turn lives. Let's turn lives, Your Excellency.
19
let's
people
turn lives,
dead.
Your Excellency.
We have 19
I said
people
24.
Dead.
You said 19. Let's turn lives.
And number two,
Your Excellency.
On abductions.
Your Excellency, let's turn lives. There are people who are burying their children, whether they're 19 or 24. And they're watching now, and they want to see how you feel about the deaths. Give us your feelings, Your Excellency.
Let me tell you.
And we could give examples, Your Excellency. There is a 12-year-old boy, Kennedy Onyango from Rongai, whose mother narrated how his boy was basically just going to get books for his schoolwork. There is Rex Masai, who was shot in the middle of the street in Nairobi. And these are real human beings. Don't you feel a sense of responsibility for what is going on in the country?
Let me tell you the following. Any life that is lost is something that must bother anybody, beginning with myself. And it is the reason why I have told you that when I came into office, I said three things. Number one, I said there will be no extrajudicial killing in Kenya. That's number one. And I have made sure that there is no extrajudicial killing in Kenya. That's number one. Number two, when I came into office, I said, I want an independent police service. And I did sign the necessary instruments so that the police does not need permission, does not need authority, and does not report.
Now, they asked him to speak upon the child that was killed, 12-year-old child that was going to get school supplies, and to speak upon the 24 or 19 that were killed. Now, I have a problem with that. Why? Because there was a child that lost his life in the middle of all this, and the bullets probably came from his police officers or soldiers. So, and he just totally disregarded, the death of this child. And the kidnappings, once again, are coming from him, right? So he's looking at his people as if they're enemies, not as, being compassionate or, for their hurt, and any hurt and pain that was caused by the government. And and if this is his response, I can see why the people want him out of office, right? And then he just goes on and talks about, property that has been damaged. People are losing their lives. You can always rebuild and you can always fix up property, but the mothers and the fathers and the family members cannot get their lost ones back anymore, while your children are safe and sound somewhere.
To the office of the president, the police operational, financial independence, I have made sure that the police don't have to ask me, don't ask anybody. They operate independently. And number four, it is true that children got into situations that they became victims of the demonstrations. What started to all of us, and I have spoken about it, I have said, the young people who have stepped forward to engage in the political discourse of their country in a peaceful manner, tribeless, are a welcome development in Kenya. That I said. But let me also say the following. These great young people who have stepped forward to prosecute their agenda, the affairs of the country, I am certain that they did not ban parliament. Criminals and other agents who took advantage of a legitimate concern of Kenyans stepped in, went and banned the Chief Justice's office, went and banned City Hall, went and banned Parliament, and destroyed property of innocent citizens.
The parents, Mr. President. What are you telling them? These things are happening under your watch.
I am telling
under your watch.
I am telling every parent, I have kids like they do, and I care when there are issues in town where criminals can take advantage of situations and create a situation where the police have to use rubber bullets, the police have to use live bullets in some cases, because that is what an independent police service has to do. And I am sure the police have a record and have an explanation for every incident that they were engaged in.
And here is the incident, Mr. President. Just a moment. Here is the incident, Mr. President.
What about the killing of the child? Were they supposed to shoot and kill the child? I mean, is that what independent police services do?
This boy, 12-year-old, took 8 bullets into the body of a 12-year-old boy. What would you tell the mother of that boy?
That boy is alive, right?
No, it's not.
Kennedy Onyango died.
He's died.
So he's the one who died.
Yes.
So you're not talking about the person who was shot with rubber bullets.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Shot with bullets 8 times.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
In Gong, this is the situation in Gong, right?
Whether the boy was alive or dead, that doesn't mean anything. He got shot with freaking 8 bullets. He shouldn't have got a 12-year-old kid shouldn't have got shot, whether he survived it or not. He shouldn't have got shot. Now you might say, okay, why did the parent allow the child to go out, during this time? Listen, there's who knows if the protest moved to where the boy was or whatever, or who knows the situation. But there should have been better control over the situation from the president.
In Gong, there was an incident where the police were overpowered by criminals. They took a firearm from the police. They used that firearm against people. And one policeman had to shoot this fellow who had hijacked
The boy talked about
a gun from a policeman so that not to endanger the lives of more citizens. It is among the 3 people. One of the criminals is among the 3 people who was shot by the police after they overpowered the police and took the bullet and took the gun from the police and used it against innocent citizens. I cannot confirm.
They should not have had live ammunition. Should not have had live ammunition in the first place.
To you that this is not the man that shot the child, but investigations are going on and we will get to the bottom of it.
Mr. President,
I am telling the mother of this young person that I, as president, will make sure that finally I will give her an explanation of what really happened and make sure that we bring this to a situation where, like myself who have children, she too her child can be accounted for.
Mr. President, the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights is the one that has accounted for 24 bodies lying in morgues. And those bodies, the records show that these people either died in hospital and while undergoing treatment for gunshot wounds, or they ended up in the morgue in the last 2 weeks with gunshot wounds. 24. These 24, Mr. President, are you saying that the security agencies have told you that these 24 were criminals, that these 24 were armed, they were posing a danger to the police officers, and that is what necessitated the police to use live bullets on them? Because the circumstances for the police officer to use a live bullet is clear, even in their own code of operations. It is when the life of that police officer is in danger, or when somebody else's life is clearly in danger, and the person who's endangering that person is armed. Were the 24 armed? Did they pose a danger, a direct threat to the police?
2 things. The same Kenya Human Rights Commission.
Kenya National Commission.
Kenya National Commission.
The government agency.
Yeah, the government agency.
Yes.
Told the nation that there was a massacre in Githurai and 20 people were killed in Githurai. Were 20 people killed in Githurai? Really?
The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights does not have records of 20 people killed.
No, but that's their statement. It is a statement that is public, you know? So the same Kenya Human Rights, Kenya Commission, Human Rights, National Human Rights Commission told the country a blatant fake news falsehood that there was a massacre.
This 24 is also...
Let me, you ask me a question, allow me to answer.
Yes.
That's what they told the country. So an organization that can tell the country without verifying that there was a massacre in Githurai. In fact, BBC, on that account, went to investigate in Githurai. And of course, you know, you have read, BBC has said there was no massacre in Githurai.
Mr. President,
there was one person who was shot by the police. Let me answer.
Yep.
So, an organization that is as reckless as to say there was a massacre when there was none, now is telling us there are 24, the police are saying 19. We will find out where the numbers are. Okay. But that is the credibility of the organization that you are telling.
Mr. President, that may well be.
Let me also...
My question,
just on
Mr.
that
President,
issue, just so that Eric can follow up.
The people who died...
Yeah, that's where I'm coming.
Were they a danger to the police?
That's where I'm coming.
Are they the criminals that you're talking about?
Let me tell you two things. There will be an investigation on how these 19 Kenyans died. There will be a clarity, an explanation for each and every one of them. I have told you one situation where somebody accosted the police, took over the firearm, started to shoot at people, endangering the lives of many other Kenyans. He was shot by the police. There is a situation in Parliament. How did the invaders in Parliament? They invaded Parliament and went straight for the armory at the Mausoleum. They went straight at the armory at the Sergeant at Arms office. Those are the investigations that we will get into, and a proper explanation will be given to the country.
Are weapons lost?
What I am saying...
Are the weapons at the armories and the mausoleum and inside Parliament?
That is why there will be an investigation of how these armories were attacked and how did these people know that there was an armory in Parliament?
Mr. President, you may not believe the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, but surely you would believe your own deputy who has said there's been a return to extrajudicial killings and abductions, contrary to what you and him promised the people of Kenya.
Let me tell you, I am the president, and I speak for the government of Kenya, right? And so...
You speak for the people. The government of Kenya speaks for the people. But democracy is what you have over there, right? It's of the people. You don't just speak for the government. You don't speak for yourself. You speak for the people.
This is what I'm telling you. I made 3 commitments that I will make sure the police is independent. And I did that on my first day in office. Number 2, I said there will be no extrajudicial killing in Kenya. I have kept my promise. Number 3, I have told you that if there is any arrest by the police, that does not amount to an abduction. In my very honest opinion.
Let's pause for a moment, Mr. President. And I just want us to go to that video over there, which will play on air. And let's pause and watch it together, Your Excellency. Let's watch this video.
Sell them to the people of Kenya. There are enough intelligent people in Kenya to differentiate what is good from what is better and what is best.
Ni jambo mbaya sana kama tutatumia askari polisi. Wako na maoni tofauti ya kisiasa.
Waeleza ya kwamba these people don't understand the damage they are doing to the people and the economy of Kenya.
All right.
All right.
Yes, the video in contention here was recorded earlier today.
Yes.
That of former MP Alfred Keter being abducted in broad daylight. Mr. President, before you even talk about the entire incident, the children were screaming, and a sound that we believe belongs to the wife was also heard, screaming in distress. How does that make you feel?
Three things. I have told you, I made a deliberate decision to make sure that the police operate independently. That's number one.
Bad decision, stupid.
Number two, I have told you, if the police summon Linus Kaikai, and Linus Kaikai refuses to go to the police, are the police not entitled to come and look for you?
First of all, you should not give an organization complete power and control. You know why? So because there's no telling what they're going to do to your citizens. That's not how a democracy works. You know, it's kind of like over here in America, where I believe, I forget which president, probably Barack Obama, one of them gave certain powers to FEMA during the hurricane or something like that. You cannot give complete control to an organization, a military organization, call the police, whatever, and then and expect you to not be held accountable. You gave them full control. So whatever death or kidnappings that happen on their watch, by them, it's going to fall back on you. And obviously you can't make good decisions as a leader. You should be removed.
When the police come to arrest you after they have summoned you and you didn't show up, is that an abduction?
So let's have this as a confirmation.
No, I'm just asking you.
Let's have this as a confirmation, Your Excellency, that Alfred Keter was summoned by police. He refused to
the police have
respond to
issued a statement. I would suggest, instead of us having a back and forth, the police have released a statement. Can you check what the police have released, the statement?
And you still not answered my question.
Which
the
was?
wife and children screaming that way.
I mean,
how do you feel, Your Excellency?
I mean, my friend, every child, every mother feels the same when their parent is under attack. I mean, that is what it is. But
now, as far as like the children and the wife screaming, okay. Now, I want to know what happened to the person. Can he be found? Or has he been, taken and detained in prison? If he's detained in prison, then okay. He was summoned, he didn't want to come, or did he commit a crime? Did he commit a crime? First, can you prove that the guy committed a crime? If you can prove that he committed a crime, then or he's a part of some type of crime, then yes, you can arrest him and bring him in for questioning, right? But you cannot. But was this was this kidnapping? Where's the person? Can he be found?
But let me ask you, what about the children? What about the children of those who have lost their lives because of the criminality of others? Don't they feel the same? So we just need to be a country of the rule of law. Impunity cuts both ways. Those who respect the law must be protected by the law. those who do not respect the law must face the full force of the law. That's how it operates. That's how we will have a society.
Here is
the same way we must condemn excessive use of police powers, but we must equally deal firmly and decisively.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna cut it here. We're going on 45 minutes. I don't want to make this video any more longer. But if you want to watch the full interview, you can. Just go to Citizens TV of Kenya, and you can watch the full video there of his response to what's going on. Okay. Other than that, that's all I got to say. And please subscribe. If you came this far and watched the video this far, please subscribe. And until next time, shalom.